Yo, what's up? That was great. Let's give them a round of applause again. So I'm not. Where did Chaz go? Get more people to come in here. Can y'all fellas come sit down up front? I want to build with y'all. You know what I'm saying? This is powerful. What's going on in here? I'll wait to. Where did he go? Huh. So, y'all want me to come in? Come on in. Come on in. I want to. Come on. I came all the way from the States, from New York City, from Brooklyn to be with y'all. So I want to build with y'all. Come on in. Please come in. Please come in. Come on in. Come on. Okay. Everybody come on in. You can sit on the floor. You know what I mean? Just come on in. Good? How y'all feeling out there, first of all? How y'all feeling? Good. So, let me say this first. Yeah, this light is mad bright. That's why I tell y'all come here. I've been in this hip-hop game since 1979. You know, since I was a youth. Thank you. Yeah, it's much better. Thank you, Chaz. And I actually grew up a graffiti writer. My name is Kevin Powell. My tag was Keepo1, Kepo1. That was my tag. Also to be a dancer, a b-boy. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all know I was one of the founding staff members of Vibe magazine back in the day. Quincy Jones's Vibe magazine. I grew up wanting to be a writer since I was a kid. And let me say this: one reason why this is important to me, wherever I go, y'all. It's important for me to come to organizations like this. I was talking to Dan. He was breaking down to me. Chaz, thank you for the emails. These folks love y'all. They love y'all. They love y'all. They believe in y'all. But the reason why this is important to me, because you know, as I was listening to y'all spit these rhymes, you know, just last weekend I found my father and his family for the first time since I was 8 years old, over 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I grew up mad poor. In America, we call it welfare or government assistance. We call it food stamps. We would get, you know, free food. They call it government cheese, things like that. This is where I come from. You know what I mean? And I always wondered to myself, if it wasn't for hip-hop, if it wasn't for the arts, if it wasn't for people who cared about me, like when I was a kid, like Chaz and Dan, I don't know where I'd be right now. Y'all are looking at someone who's written 11 books in my lifetime, working on my 12th and 13th books over the next couple of years. The next book is actually about my life. As I was listening to y'all spit these rhymes, I was like, that's how I felt. That's how I felt. You know what I mean? Like, what's my life going to be? The book after the next book is like a memoir autobiography of my life. Then after that is a biography of Tupac Shakur. You know, because when I was at Vibe magazine, I interviewed Tupac Shakur more than any other writer when he was alive. I actually was in Vegas on September 13, 1996 when Tupac died. So that's how tight we were. You feel what I'm saying? And not only did I interview Tupac when I was working at Vibe magazine, I interviewed Snoop and Dre, and I know Big, obviously from Brooklyn, I know Biggie, all these different heads. And so hip hop really gave us an outlet. And when Chaz and Dan were breaking down what y'all do here around digital media, around hip hop, etc., I said, you know, I'm glad to be a part of this. You know, I was in Dublin, Ireland yesterday, you know, building with one of my friends who's a hip hop head, he's a writer, you know what I'm saying, and just making my way around the community. And I made it a point to ask him, like, yo, this is cool, you know, seeing the capsules and everything, but take me to where the people are. Y'all feel me? And so in America, they call it housing projects, but in Ireland, I don't know what y'all call it here, but they call it council housing, you know, where they have working class people living, you know, housing for people who might be poor. But I want to say this to y'all. If we poor financially, I grew up poor financially, mad poor. You know what? Y'all are not poor intellectually. Y'all are not poor spiritually. Y'all are not poor. Everyone, can y'all repeat something after me? In fact, I want them to hear it all the way back in New York City. Say it nice and loud. Nah, son, they're not going to hear that. If I talk funny, it's because I'm an American, so forgive me, all right? We talk funny in America. I understand that. I am a genius. That's all of y'all. You're a dancer and you're a genius. But every single one of you in this room is a genius. It doesn't matter where you come from. What did Drake say? Started from the bottom. Now we here. Am I right? No matter where you come from, no matter what's going on in your life right now. My mother was a single mother. Raised me poor. She only has a grade school education, but she made something out of her life and she made something for me. Y'all feel me? It doesn't matter where you come from. You're not going to allow anything to stop you. Financial situation, you're not going to allow racism to stop you. You're not going to allow religious hatred to stop you. Ladies, you're not going to allow sexism to stop y'all. Am I right? If you happen to be from the LGBT community, you're not going to allow homophobia to stop you. Am I right, y'all? You don't let anything stop you from doing what you want to do in your life, but you got to believe in yourself. As I was listening to the 3MC, give them a round of applause again. And it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to get on the microphone and spill your heart out to people. I was listening to the lyrics very, very closely. Where's the third brother? I see two here. Where's the third brother that's rhyming? Where did he go? Oh, you're right in front of me. I'm sorry. I was listening to y'all very, very closely. You know what I mean? And it takes courage to do what y'all are doing. But every one of y'all in this room is a genius. And when we talk about hip-hop culture, what's deep for me, you know what I'm saying? And how do I put this? I grew up poor. I didn't get on a plane until I was 24 years old. I didn't even know you could get on a plane and go anywhere. But over the last 20 years, I've been to 48 of the 50 American states in America, including Hawaii and Alaska, and I've been to 5 of the 7 continents on this planet. The only places I haven't been yet are Australia and Antarctica, and I'm going to figure out how to get to Antarctica for real. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to go to Australia. I got to go down to Australia, you know what I'm saying? But I'm proof that anything is possible, you know, because I had a belief, I had a dream when I was a child, is I want to be a writer. And no one in my community wrote. Everyone just jobs, regular jobs, that kind of thing. But what I did, I took education seriously. You know what I'm saying? And again, it doesn't matter where you are in your life right now. It's not too late to take your education seriously. We gotta read, we gotta study. As I'm sitting here listening to y'all spit these rhymes, I'm thinking about the whole history of hip hop. But not just hip hop, I'm thinking about, wow, here are young men spitting rhymes who are Welsh. All of y'all are Welsh, am I right?
Yeah, Irish.
You're Irish. Wow, that's deep. I can't wait to go back to Ireland. But y'all are young people who, you know what, I'm looking at Irish. Yesterday I'm checking out Irish traditional Celtic music, you know, as I'm looking at y'all you both are Welsh, am I right? I'm thinking about Welsh and Irish. And you're Welsh? But think about the traditions that y'all come from. A few generations ago, you might have been some of those singers in the coal mines of Wales, am I right? You might have been Celtic singers, but you know what? This thing called hip-hop was created, and it was created by poor African Americans, poor West Indians, and poor Latinos in the Bronx, New York, 1960s, late 60s, early 1970s, and in Wales. And y'all are as dope as anything I've seen anywhere around the world. You feel me? Because what it is this youth culture that we created that is a platform for you to just speak your minds freely. You know, I'm watching y'all, you know, I'm like, wow, y'all could easily be dropped in New York City right now. This is dope. This is dope. And so I want to encourage y'all, no matter what you want to do in your life, you gotta believe in yourself. I want to suggest a couple of things real quick that I want to open it up, because I don't want to just give a speech. I want to open it up to a dialogue. One, if you really believe you're a genius, were you here earlier? We just said everyone, what did we say, y'all? I am a genius. Word. So if you believe in that, the first business card that you ever give to anybody from this point forward is your eye contact. You feel me? Confidence. Self-esteem. You gotta believe in yourself. Now, saying that you're a genius doesn't make you arrogant. You should practice humility and respect toward other people, because we're all sisters and brothers here, am I right? But that confidence, what we call in hip-hop, that swag, right? That swag means you know that you have a purpose on this planet, and your purpose is greatness no matter what you're going to do with your life. Am I right, y'all? You know, that's real. So your first contact, that first card is your eye contact. The second thing I want to say to y'all, you got to have a plan. You got to have a plan. Goals. Got to have goals. Like, you can't just be on this earth taking up space. You can't just be like, you know what? I was born poor. I'm talking about myself for a second. My father abandoned us when I was 8 years old. He just said, you know what? I'm out of here. That was it. I could have crumbled under that. And I was angry and hurt. Anyone know what I'm talking about? I was angry and hurt for years around my father disappearing. You know what I'm saying? But I use art. Y'all use hip hop. I use writing to express how I felt, because I realized art is like therapy, it's like counseling, it's like healing. Am I right, y'all? You know what I mean? Because you have a choice. You can either go for it with your plan or goals, or you can just be stuck. And you know what I realized? You know, I used to be one of those dudes back in America who was on the street corner a lot, just kicking it. You know what I mean? And life just passed you by. But guess what? You don't even have to be on the street corner. Life could just pass you by and you moving if you don't have any goals whatsoever. And so I want to ask y'all, what are you passionate about? What excites you? What do you want to do with your life? I don't care where you came from. I don't care if you might have a child already or 2 or 3, anything like that. What is your reason on this planet and what are you going to do to achieve those goals? Y'all feel me? That's important. You know what I mean? But don't stop there. When you get to a position where you're doing good, doing all right for yourself, you got to be like Chaz and Dan and say, you know what? I need to reach back and help as many other people as possible, because then you become an example, a role model for other youth in our communities. Are y'all with me out there? Yeah. But it has to start with y'all. It has to start with y'all. Y'all are the most brilliant generation this world has ever produced. Y'all are the most brilliant generation this world has ever produced. How many of y'all are born between the late 80s and 1990s? Pretty much all of y'all in this room, right? Anyone over 30? No. But what I'm saying is, y'all have been exposed to stuff. Like, in my hand is tons of information from all over the world. You know what I mean? We couldn't even imagine this. Am I right, y'all who are over 30? Could we even imagine this when we were 15, 16, even 25 years old? When I was at Vibe Magazine 20 years ago, they told us we were going to get emails. We were like, what are y'all talking about? We don't want no emails. Little did we know. You know what I'm saying? But I want to encourage y'all to please have those goals. And the last thing I want to say, you know, is that take pride in who you are. You know what I mean? When I was in Ireland yesterday, one of the things that I loved is the pride in being Irish. Y'all gotta have pride in being Welsh. You know what I mean? And people try to say, like, I'm learning. You know what I mean? When I was in Ireland, the Irish made it a point to say, yeah, the British take credit for Daniel Day-Lewis, but by the way, he's Irish. You know, or, you know, Anthony Hopkins is Welsh, am I right? And Shirley Bassey is Welsh. I'm learning, I'm like, oh wow, Sean Connery is Scottish. And so whoever you are, where you come from, you gotta love who you are. You know what I mean? That's important. You know, I don't care if you're black, white, Latino, Asian, Christian, Jewish, Muslim, whatever you are, you gotta love who you are. Am I right, y'all? Yeah. This is important because that's self-empowerment. You can't have any goals if you're not self-empowering, and that foundation for those goals should be a knowledge, what we call in America, knowledge of self. Knowledge of self. I'm excited to be here in Wales. Can y'all repeat after me? Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas. Now, how many of y'all know who that is? Be honest about it. Who's Dylan Thomas? Poet. One of the greatest poets that this country ever produced. You know what I'm saying? Say that again.
I'm shocked I'm the only person that knew that.
But you know what? Don't be shocked, because when I was growing up, I didn't know a lot of poets in America out of my community. I didn't know a lot of anything. Because a lot of times, you know, even Dan, hold your hand up, Dan. Even Dan said to me, you know, it wasn't even introduced, the poetry Dylan Thomas wasn't in the education he got in Wales. And so part of the reason why I'm in Wales right now is next year is the 100th birthday of Dylan Thomas. And he's famous in America, which is why I'm over here, because he's important. And this is someone who had a dream of being a writer, and look what he did with his life. And so I want y'all to please, y'all have computers here, right? Look up Dylan Thomas and know that you will look up Dylan Thomas. He's Welsh, and he was gangster. Proud Welshman. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I want to say. Let's have a dialogue. I don't even want to talk to you. Let's talk. Let's just ask questions, exchange. You know, we got time here. I'm down to stay past 4, whatever we got to do. I'm here.
So what's it like in America then?
What's it like in America? Well, I live in New York. Any of y'all ever been in New York City? Anybody?
I'm too scared to get on a plane in the boat.
No, don't.
I'm staying in the UK, me. That's it. I ain't going nowhere else.
No, you got it. What's your name?
Heather.
Heather? Let me say this to Heather and everyone else out there. Fear. How many of y'all don't ever want to be in prison?
Okay, Frank, pose.
Guess what? Fear is a prison. What age did I say I got on a plane for the first time? 24 years old, because I was scared of flying. And I was scared of going out of my comfort zone. You feel what I'm saying? And when you grow up in an environment that I grew up in, the world that you know is kind of like where you are, and that's it. You feel what I'm saying? But guess what? After I got over that fear of flying, I get to meet people like y'all all over the world. You feel what I'm saying? You got to get out of that box. You don't want to live your life in a box. You know, I'm surprised as I've been traveling around Ireland, now Wales, and I'm going to Scotland and then London. People have told me that people who live in this area have never been to these 4 countries. You feel what I'm saying? And it's the same. What's it like in New York or America? It's the same thing. A lot of people don't travel beyond their comfort zones. You know, New York is a great city. Why is it a great city? Because it's a very diverse city. We have people from all over the world living in New York City. Every language you can think of, every kind of people you can think of. That's one of the reasons why Dylan Thomas, your countryman, your legendary poet, found his way to New York City. It's a place where if you want to find your dreams, it's one of those cities on the planet that you go to. I love New York. If y'all come to New York, y'all should look me up. My Twitter is Kevin_Powell. I got cards. You can email me, and I do respond. You know what I mean? But I think that you got to travel. That's what I recommend. No matter where you live, you got to travel. Get on a boat. Get on a plane. Get over that fear. How many of y'all got fears? Just be honest about it. Something that you're scared of. I want to hear what y'all scared of. You want to say?
Spiders.
Spiders.
So I want to go to Africa then.
What other fears? Spiders? What else?
I'm afraid of being on my own, Kevin.
You afraid? What do you mean by that, Dan?
I just don't like being alone. I like to have a company of other people.
I'm never alone with us, Dad.
Sometimes your thoughts just go round and round in your head. It's always nice to have somebody to share those thoughts.
I like that. I like that. But I also want to recommend. Well, y'all all got to.
I'm scared of being losing. Like if I'm competing, I'm always scared to become a loser of that kind of competition. So that keep the nerve inside me a lot of the time. So
You keep what inside of you?
yeah, the nerve, like nervous, make me feel nervous.
Ah.
I'm scared of being part of a losing team.
Okay. But guess what? Even when you lose, you win if you learn from the losing. You feel what I'm saying? In my lifetime, now, like I said, I've been fortunate, you know, to do the things I've done in my life, but I've fallen down on my face many, many times. Life is about sometimes you fall down and you got to get back up. As we're having this program, Nelson Mandela was in jail for 2077. You see what's on that TV right now, right? There was a time when he was branded a terrorist by my government, the United States government. I was in college when he was in prison, and that's how I learned about the apartheid in South Africa. In a lot of people's minds, we could not have imagined that this man, all these years later, would be getting a celebration from the whole world. Do you understand what I'm saying? So sometimes you lose, you go through challenges in life, difficult. Don't look at it as losing. In fact, let's get rid of that word losing. Look at it as I'm having some very serious challenges in life that are going to make me a better human being if I can bounce back from it. You feel me?
Yeah.
You know, and it's nothing wrong with nervous energy. When Dan asked me if I wanted to sit down when I got in here, Chaz actually asked me, I was like, no, I want to stand up because I'm hyped. You know what I mean? I got that energy and and I'm also a hip hop head, so when hip hop is about to rap, you stand up, you want to feel that energy, you know? And so you got to channel that. You feel me? Anyone else?
What was Pac like?
What was Tupac Shakur like? Man, the best interview subject I ever had in my life. People always ask me, why did you quit journalism? I mean, who do you interview after Tupac Shakur? You know what I'm saying? He was smart.
Were you the one that interviewed them in the hotel?
I interviewed him in hotels, in the prison, everything. He was highly intelligent. You know why he's highly intelligent, folks? Because he read a lot. Gotta read books.
You have time, didn't you?
Now you gotta make the time. What happens if you don't eat for a day, 3 days, a week?
You got weak.
You get weak. What happens if you don't eat for a month?
You die.
You die. So what happens if you don't take education and reading books seriously? You don't read for a couple days, a week, a couple weeks, a month. You never read in your life. What happens to your brain? Waste away. So even when Pac was in prison, what was the name he called himself when he came out of prison? The last name he called himself? Machiavelli. Why? Because he read a book called The Prince by Machiavelli. You feel me? He was always reading. He was always reading. You gotta read. Back to Dylan Thomas. This is someone who talks about your country. Y'all should look him up. Read. Right? You know, as I'm listening to them spit their rhymes, I'm like, this is poetry. Your poetry is no different than Dylan Thomas. He's not better than you. You're just as good as he is. But where's this going to take you? And your poetry, your rhymes will get deeper the more you read, the more you study. One of my friends back in America is Chris Rock, the comedian. Chris Rock reads newspapers every single day because he's always looking for ideas that can expand his mind, his comedy. You feel what I'm saying? What was Tupac like? He was very complex. All of us are complex. There was a very beautiful, powerful side of him. Then there was a side of him that was just wild and negative. And y'all know what I'm talking about, right? The stuff with Biggie, East Coast, West Coast, and Suge and Diddy and all that kind of stuff. The one thing we don't want to do, what we don't want to do, I'm gonna be honest, we don't want to separate ourselves from each other. You don't want to create unnecessary beefs with each other. Y'all feel me? Like
We're all in the same boat at the end of the
we're
day.
on the same boat. Black people versus white people, men versus women, Irish versus this group, Welsh versus this group, everybody versus the British. Y'all know what I'm saying? That's what I've been hearing in Ireland and Wales a little bit. But you know what I mean? You don't want to get involved in that divide and conquer stuff. And so some of that stuff that Pac was doing was actually dividing some of us. You know what I mean? But overall, it's deep. When I was in Ireland yesterday, my friend Dean, who's an Irish writer, he said, Tupac is the biggest hip-hop figure in Ireland. I was like, wow, who knew? Everywhere I go, people say the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that, study his life. And when I want to bring it to this, actually, you know who Tupac loved pretty much more than any other writer? Shakespeare. Pac loved Shakespeare. Because he saw a lot of similarities between Shakespeare and hip-hop. If you read Hamlet, or you see a performance of Hamlet, Hamlet's basically hip-hop. To be or not to be. Wasn't that what y'all was saying in your rhymes, basically? It's the same thing. You know what I mean? Exactly. But if you don't read, you don't know that. You don't realize you're part of a big, grand tradition right out of this part of the world. Questions? Thoughts? Anybody?
I go on.
Yes.
What was your main strength to keep you going until you become as the person standing in front of us now, sharing your life with us?
Wow, that's a great question. Trust me, I've had a lot of ups and downs, you know what I'm saying? Even after being a writer for Vibe magazine, I did about 10, 11 cover stories, including Tupac, 3-year period. I was just so-called one of the most successful writers, young writers in the country back in the day. But guess what? I lost it all. I actually got fired from Vibe magazine right around the time Tupac died, you know what I'm saying? And I ended up being, I won't say I was an alcoholic, but I drank a lot. You know what I mean? It's one reason why I'm a vegan today and I exercise regularly, all that kind of stuff. And so it's not like life is a straight line. You feel me? We have ups and downs, sideways, all kind of directions. But what got me back on my track and what keeps me going is that I just think about where my mother comes from. I think where my family comes from. I think about the things that I experienced. I'm like, not only am I doing this for myself, I'm doing this for a lot of people who never had this opportunity. You feel me? All of y'all represent your communities, whether you realize it or not. You represent people bigger than yourself. Those of you who are parents already, I saw at least one baby in here, right? You representing right there. You're representing a child, And so we got to take our lives very, very seriously. You got to put a value in your life. In fact, I want to ask y'all a question. What is self-esteem and what is self-worth? What is self-esteem and what is self-worth? What does that mean to you?
Self-esteem is what?
Going, innit? It's giving you a boost self-esteem. It's like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
I like
Self-worth is basically what you think of yourself.
Self-worth, what you think of yourself. Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's like what you pose that, like, you know what I mean? Like, obviously different people, they've got different backgrounds and different circumstances, but that should never be an excuse. As long as you know what you want to do, that's like your motivation, and then depending on how much weight you actually apply to what you think you want to achieve, is your self-worth, like, you know what I mean? So there's a difference between just thinking and doing something and actually putting the actual effort into doing it. You know what I mean? So people get confused sometimes, maybe they want to be something, and then they just get depressed, or they think, oh, I can't do this, or I can't do, I can't reach that level, and then they don't bother putting the weight in, and then they just stay where they were at the beginning. That's not an excuse, you just got to do it.
He just said something, they stay where they were in the beginning. I mean, how many of y'all have felt stuck in your life? I can put both my hands up. How many of y'all have felt stuck in your life? Keep it 100, right? This is real. You know what made me feel stuck in my lifetime? Being poor for long periods of time and I have no money. Let's be honest. How many of y'all battle depression like me? Sadness, depression. This is real. There's no shame in it. There's no shame in it. You gotta know where you are, right? We gotta be honest about this stuff. How many of us have battled like, self-esteem issues, like your self-esteem's been kind of low, a little shaky, real talk. Heather ain't
I think so, chocolate.
What do you want to do with your life?